Kenya Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment for failing to honor 7 court summons over the disappearance of some persons. Local media also reported that the Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, may have urgently applied to the court to overturn his conviction and suspend its intended sentences for failing to comply with court orders regarding the disappearance of 3 men in Kajiado County. It was gathered that Masengeli also missed court hearings on September 5 and 9, 2024, citing urgent security operations as the reason for his absence. He reportedly claimed to have been engaged in critical responses to militia attacks and other threats which required his immediate attention. Days before he was sentenced, Gilbert Masengeli, in an interview with some journalists, Gilbert Masengeli calls for respect for the rule of law, but declined to respond to his disobedience to court summons on the ground that he cannot comment on a matter already before a court. The court ordered the Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, to surrender himself to the Commissioner General of Prisons, Patrick Arandu. The High Court Judge, Justice Lawrence Mugambi, directed the Kenya Interior Minister, Kithure Kindiki, to take necessary measures to ensure his commitment to prison should Masengeli fail to comply with the surrender order. Reports from Kenya on Friday after the court ruling suggested that the Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, may be undeterred as he was seen on photographs conducting his regular duties hours after court sentenced him to 6 months in prison for contempt. He officiated the closing ceremony of the Sub-County Police Commanders (SCPC) course at the National Police Leadership Academy (NPLA) in Angon. National Police Service of Kenya, in a news release, stated that the acting IG, Gilbert Masengeli, today September 13, 2024, made an impromptu visit at the NPSK 9 unit headquarters in Lang'ata, Nairobi. He was accompanied by Lead KPS Eliud Lagat. The K9 unit is charged with the care, training and breeding of NPS dogs, also known in police telegraphic address as pole dogs. Masengeli was given a tour of the dog kennels by IP David Onala, before he witnessed a training demonstration where the K9 and their handlers showcased their expertise in dog handling to detect narcotics, explosives, and effect an arrest. In his address, Masengeli commended the K9 officers for their dedication to duty, reiterated that K9 unit plays an integral role in the safety of our country. His sentiments echoed those of Lead Lagat, who appreciated the officers for their being passionate about their work. The acting IG was accompanied by NPS spokesperson, Dr. Resila Onyango, AIG, the Commandant National Police Service Leadership Academy, Kainga Matthew, Commandant of the K9 Unit, Dr. Gideon Angumi, AIG, a vet doctor by profession, deputized by Kiptapis Chemwal. The presiding judge has also suspended the sentence for 7 days to give Gilbert Masengeli, the Acting Inspector General of Police, a final chance to appear in court before having to report to jail. It was learned that the police chief repeatedly defied orders to testify about the whereabouts of 3 men allegedly abducted by police officers. The case stems from a lawsuit by the country's member association, the Law Society of Kenya, which is seeking a court order for the release of 3 men who it said were taken by the police in August and have not been heard from since. The 3 were outspoken on social media platforms in support of mass anti-government protests in June and July. Human rights activists said dozens of people involved in the protests were abducted by state agents and held incommunicado. Most were subsequently released. President William Ruto has promised to look into these accusations, although he has broadly defended the conduct of state security services during the protests. Judge Lawrence Mugambi had asked Masengeli to appear in court 7 times to provide the whereabouts of the 3, but Masengeli never did. In the event that he does not submit himself to the Commissioner General of Prisons, the Minister of Interior must take all steps that are necessary and permissible in law to ensure that Gilbert Masengeli is committed to prison, Mugambi was quoted by Reuters. Police spokeswoman Resila Onyango did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Masengeli's lawyers, in a presentation dated Thursday, asked the judge to suspend his contempt verdict and said attempts to locate the three men were ongoing.
Kemna, Mr. Gilbert Masengeli is sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. Mr. Masengeli is ordered to submit himself to the Commissioner General of Kenya Prisons to ensure that he is to be committed to a prison facility to commence serving sentence of the imprisonment imposed. In the event that he does not submit himself to the Commissioner General of Prison Service as ordered, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Interior must take all steps that are necessary and permissible in law to ensure Mr. Gilbert Masengeli is committed to prison to commence serving the sentence imposed on him. The court nevertheless finds it desirable to impose this sentence as a coercive order as opposed to a punitive order. In that regard, Mr. Masengeli may avoid serving this sentence, and therefore, in that regard, the court shall suspend this sentence for 7 days only. The Acting Inspector General of Police can redeem himself and comply by availing himself before this court in person to answer to the issues he has been avoiding. In default, the sentence shall automatically become effective.
Human right has to be respected, and this rule of law. We are in a democratic country, and I want us also to differentiate from the normal arrest and abduction. When you are arrested by police officer, you are taken to the police cells, investigation launched. When the evidence allows you be taken to the court of law, then to the prison if you are convicted. We cannot discuss matters before God.
OsazuwaAkonedo, bringing you the news in a more digital way.